Week 8 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few running backs I have as sleepers this week. The first back, Justice Hill of the Baltimore Ravens. Justice Hill, last week he found the end zone on a nice screen pass. And we've seen him have some good games here and there throughout the year. So far, 3 games out of the first 7 double-digit fantasy points. But the last few weeks, leading up to week 7, he didn't do much. Week 5 at Cincinnati, 5 carries, 17 yards a catch, 8 yards. Week 6 versus Washington, a carry, 2 yards, a catch, 2 yards. And then week 7 at Tampa Bay, where they were down early in that ball game and had to throw. He played a big part in the comeback. 3 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown and 5 carries, 4 yards. So we know he's the third down back. We know he's the passing downs back. And Derrick Henry, they want to save him a little bit. Even if they could save 4 or 5 touches a game for Derrick Henry, Justice Hill is going to get more of a workload available in 80% of fantasy leagues. I believe this week he could get anywhere from 8 to 12 touches in this ball game. And this Cleveland Brown team, it's just been a horrible season all around for this Brown team. So I think Justice Hill could go out there and in deeper leagues, I know every team is playing this week, but still be a sleeper option. Next back, RoShaun Johnson of the Chicago Bears. RoShaun Johnson, it's a decent year for him so far. Right now out there in 86% of fantasy leagues, and we've seen 2 double-digit fantasy games out of the 4 games he appeared in this season. Johnson, week 4 versus the Rams, 7 carries, 26 yards, a touchdown. Week 5 versus the Panthers, 10 carries, 25 yards, 2 touchdowns. And week 6 versus the Jags, 5 carries, 8 yards, 2 catches, 25 yards. So anywhere from 7 to 12 touches per game RoShaun Johnson's going to get. And he's got goal line work where he's more the backup running back instead of Khalil Herbert over the last few weeks. So this week, not the greatest of matchups at the Commanders, where their defense has definitely been stout for the most part over the last few weeks. But RoShaun Johnson, if he's getting the goal line touches, and if he could just sneak one in there this week, I think he could help fantasy owners in a nice way. He's a deep option in deeper leagues and a sleeper option because, like, let's say he gets 40 total yards and a touchdown. That's not bad output this week. And the final running back I have is a sleep, Ray Davis of the Buffalo Bills. So Ray Davis, he's been impressive when he's had expanded chances this season. So the last 2 games he's gone out there and he's put up numbers. Week 6 at the Jets with James Cook out, 20 carries, 97 yards, 3 catches, 55 yards. And week 7 versus Tennessee Titans, I know it was some garbage time in that game, but 5 carries, 41 yards, a touchdown on the ground, and a catch for 6 yards. So Ray Davis, he's an explosive running back. Like I said, we saw a couple weeks ago versus the New York Jets. He went in there with a big workload, and he ran for a monster performance with Ray Davis and could catch the football out of the backfield as well. So this week at Seattle, that gives up the 11th most fantasy points to running backs on the season. I think Ray Davis is a deep sleeper option and someone who definitely has good upside because I believe James Cook isn't 100% with his injury. Last week, he didn't do much with Cook, and he just didn't look as fast, and he didn't have the burst that he usually has. So Ray Davis is a handcuff. Obviously, someone to stash on your roster and someone who you could play in this ball game, I believe, and have possibly decent numbers. A running back that I have as a sleeper this week, so that's a few running backs I have as sleepers for week 8 of the fantasy football season.